Everybody cuddle in. Hi, and welcome to our channel. This is the McKinney Makeover. We are here to talk about our life makeover, the whole life. I am Sarah.
I'm Jesslyn.
I'm Nate.
And we are the McKinneys. She's not a McKinney, but we claim her. Story behind that is she is my daughter, and she is Nate's stepdaughter. But he loves her like his own. Sorry. What this channel is about. So we are in the process, the beginning stages of completely changing our life, doing a whole overhaul because we are tired of the rat race. We are tired of being owned by the man, I guess. So we're doing several things. One of the things that we're doing that we've just begun is becoming debt-free, other than a mortgage, and probably our student loans for a while. We've already done this, and that is we've become primal lifestylers.
Yeah.
We eat plants and animals. We are not perfect, but we try not to eat carbs, like processed carbs, foods from other countries, foods from other areas of the U.S. because they have preservatives on them.
We also try to source some of our food that's grown local.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible in every area, but we're fortunate in that there's a lot of agriculture around us, and we can source quite a bit of locally grown plants and even some locally raised livestock.
Yep. We buy a lot of our food from a co-op here, and they get their food from local farmers. And then we also buy in bulk our meat from a local farmer. And he butchers it all there at his farm, and that's how we buy our meat. Some other things that we are working on is a homestead. We do have we live in a townhouse. We are doing some homesteading things, but our goal is to have a whole homestead where we can raise our own plants and animals. We're also working on self-sufficiency and some prepping type things. She's crazy. So it's kind of like a whole health thing. We want to be healthy physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially.
Agreed.
Yep. Nate, do you want to say a little bit about yourself? About who you are and what got you here?
Well, born in the east part of the country, grew up, typical Midwest, middle of nowhere, in between two fields upbringing. Have a household with a family, work a job, and have come to like kind of a natural lifestyle if I can attain it. And apparently the rest of my household feels the same way. I guess
That's it.
Kind of came to the end of that part of it.
Jesslyn, how about you?
I think we should give Nate some snaps.
Yeah.
I'm Jesslyn. I'm the kid of the house. I'm 20. Like Nate, I grew up in the eastern part of the country. My dad, he lives out in the country, so I grew up out there and in the townhouse with Mom. I'm a nursing student right now, so I know a little bit about nutrition, a little bit about health and all that. One of the main reasons I'm starting this, you're staring at me, sorry. One of the main reasons I'm starting like this primal lifestyle is because here in a couple years I'll be moving out and starting my career and my life. My main goal is to build my own house and be able to live off my land while maintaining my job as a nurse. I think it's important that you, I guess, grow your own stuff and are debt-free, just so you're not. I think when you have debt, you're pretty much owned by someone. You always owe your money to someone. So I don't want to be like that. I'm pretty independent and like to be on my own. Free-spirited, I guess.
Absolutely.
I was also recently diagnosed with Barrett's disease, GERD, and a hiatal hernia. So I have to be careful about what I eat, or else I get really sick, and I'm at an increased risk for esophageal cancer. So I really need to watch what I eat, which is another reason that this primal diet is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's about me.
I also grew up in the eastern part of the country, and I was raised by both of my parents who had 10 children, and I am the second to the youngest of 10 kids, and I learned to be pretty resourceful from my parents. My mom stayed home and raised the children, and my dad worked at a steel mill. So we were not poor, but we lived on hand-me-downs. My mom canned food. My mom cooked fresh food from scratch. And sometimes it was, we call it Gunner's Kill. She emptied the refrigerator out into a stock pot and made soup, and that's what we ate. So I learned how to cook from her. I learned how to sew from her. My parents supported me when I raised hogs in 4-H. I raised rabbits, and I started my adulthood off not as my parents would have liked me to. I got pregnant in high school with this one, so we had a rough beginning, and in that time I made some unwise choices financially, mostly out of desperation, and so I messed my credit up, and I've been slowly trying to repair that. And so I'm at this point where I'm tired of it. So I got to pay off all this debt, and another thing is, a year ago I weighed 320 pounds, and I've lost over 100 pounds, and I feel amazing, and that really set me on this path to wellness as far as my health.
And we're proud of you.
Well, thank you.
Mom is a very good staple in the family. She guides us and yells at us when we're bad.
I don't yell.
Well, you get on our case.
Yeah, I speak firmly. What is this? So that's what this channel is. This is going to be a documentary, I guess, if you will, of our journey into a better life, into a whole health life. And this is the very first episode of that. We're going to document our successes, our failures, how we overcome, how we work together as a family to make this happen. And I hope that we teach people family values, how to be self-sufficient.
And how to be self-sufficient from a young age, like me.
Yeah, started off right.
And how to do it at your own pace.
Right.
This isn't just something that you go out and buy a kit for, and here you go, here's your homesteading lifestyle. This is something you can do no matter where you're at or who you are. Again, it's a lifestyle choice, and the way I see it. So this isn't something that you have to be well off financially to start off doing.
Right.
I wanted to make that point. I guess I did.
What this channel is not. This channel is not a get-rich-quick tutorial. It is not a how to quit your job and homestead for a living tutorial. While that may be the end goal eventually, it is not the goal right now. I, for one, love my job. We all work for the same company, and it is a fantastic company to work for.
It is.
I mean, we're very blessed to work there. So that is not the goal right now.
Gotta take baby steps.
Right. And it may never be the goal for any of us. And it may be. We don't know where we're headed quite yet. We do all have an idea in our head, but it's not solid, so. This is not the channel for all of the answers, because we are going to find the answers along the way.
We are literally starting this. We've all, agreed this is something we want, and this is the first step. Making this video helps us, hopefully as much as it does whoever's watching.
Yep. And this is not for everybody. Everyone is different. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different dreams. And our dream is this. And it may not be your dream. And that's okay, because the world takes all types. Yeah, that's what this channel is not.
I think piggybacking off of what Mom said, everyone has different goals. I know her end goal is to kind of just settle down on her land and eventually move out of her job and live off of her land. That's not the same goal I have. I do want to live off of my land and provide for my family from my own supply and stuff, but I always want to keep my job. I'm paying to go to school to be a nurse, and I think that's a good skill to have, and I want to help people, so I think that I would like to keep my job until I retire, until I can't work anymore.
Yeah, and that's good, and staying in your job will help keep your skills up, and being a nurse is a wonderful skill. Yep. I think we already shared who we are. We're reading off a paper. We have a template here because we all tend to be chatty and we can go in 5,000 different directions. Our family conversations end up being hours long sometimes because we just talk and talk and talk. So the next question is, why are we changing? What motivated us to change?
Well, working on the whole debt-free topic, my wife had been interested in, well, everyone's interested in being debt-free, but my wife she works with numbers. She's been reading about this, and then one day she shows me all our debt laid out on paper, a plan to pay it off in a shockingly short amount of time without having to live off ramen noodles or hide in the house with a flashlight on, and none of the, we're not giving anything up to do this. We're just spending our money far more effectively. And honestly, being debt free is freedom from, and I don't like this term, but it's the only thing I've heard lately is a buzzword that really puts it, the way it is freedom from being a wage slave. I know I have to work to make a living. I've accepted that a long time ago, but it gets really old. It gets in the way of time with your loved ones. Like I'm not getting any younger, and I don't see these people as much as I'd like to. Homesteading, it's pretty possible, I think, to live like that and have time, to see the people that I care about in this world, before I'm too old or, heaven forbid, gone. We're not here forever. So I want to try to enjoy this one life that I have. And this idea seems to be the best way to go about that.
Yeah.
Why I'm changing. The main reason is the nutritional side. My whole entire life, I've had stomach problems. I'm always sick, always throwing up, and like I said here recently, I was diagnosed with some different conditions, and I'm sick of feeling sick all the time. So eating organic and all of that has helped me feel a tremendous amount of relief, and I really don't want to end up with cancer because I'm at a high risk for that. So changing what I eat is one of the main reasons. I've always had a dream of building my own house, so that really hasn't changed for me. I want to graduate and build my own house and live off my land, like I've said before. But yeah, just mainly the nutritional side for me is why I want to do this.
My reason for changing is a lot like my husband's. We want financial freedom. We don't want to have a job where we have to make sure we get exactly 40 hours, because if we don't, we're not going to pay a bill. Or if one of us gets sick and we have to be on short-term disability, the lights are going to get shut off, or we're not going to have enough money for food.
Or the car.
Or the car, which is a very vital resource.
Or kitty cats.
Right. And speaking of the car, one of the things that we do as minimalists is we share the same car. We have one car. It saves a lot of money. Nate works third shift, I work first shift, and when he comes home, I go to work.
But to add to that, we have a vehicle that's new enough to where we pay for an extra warranty
yeah.
and maintenance agreement through a certified dealer service department, and they're really good about keeping the vehicle up as long as we get it there when we're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it is reasonable for us to share this one car. It runs very well.
And that may not be for everybody.
Right.
It works for us mainly because we work separate shifts.
It can be a little bit of a juggle.
Yeah, sometimes we have to say, "Hey, Jocelyn, can I get a ride to somewhere?"
that happens.
Fun
Sometimes.
fact: they have the same car they share, and I have the same exact car as them.
Yep,
Yep.
and Grandma and Grandpa have the car, and Uncle Chuck has that car, and Uncle Tony has that car. It's like the family car. So anyways, I also, like I said, have been transitioning to a healthier lifestyle as far as my eating. And I feel better. I feel better than I have probably since I was 16. I feel better using organic soap. I feel better making my own soap. I feel better eating whole nutritious meals that I make from scratch. That's why I'm changing. Nate, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short term, I think, is pretty obvious. We live in a townhouse, so I don't have some sprawling piece of land, a nice plot of land, as I teased about a lot. But short term, there are things I think that I'm kind of jumping to this next, the self-sufficiency and prepping. But again, it doesn't matter. I don't think where you're at. Physically and financially in your living arrangement, you can start some of this, because really homesteading and being debt-free is just being more self-sufficient. And there are plenty of short-term goals that you can adhere to as far as that is. I mean, just having small items like a simple set of tools, a little bit of searching on the internet, and you can fix a lot of the things you own. So they'll last for years longer. Cutting implements. Say a branch falls in the driveway, you can get rid of that yourself if the landlord doesn't have time. Or say you've got inclement weather. One that nobody really likes to do is having a snow shovel and shoveling your driveway. And I don't want to put this as far as it's just guys that do this. It's just the role that I fell into in my household. We all have a role. If you're a single lady, you can do these things too. Mm-hmm. Again, simple set of tools and a little research on the internet. My wife fixes things around our house when I'm not here. But anybody can fill any role that we're presenting here.
Yeah.
I remember, what was it, 2 years ago, Christmas Eve, it was like torrentially snowing.
Oh yeah, that
we
was
all
a bad
put
one.
our hat and gloves on and
3
grabbed a
people.
shovel and went out and
Yeah.
shoveled the driveway.
Yep.
Actually, that was 4 people in the
Yeah, because
driveway.
Greg was here too. Yep.
Another thing, as far as short-term goals, and I kind of jumped the gun on this, but battery banks, a small solar-powered stuff. It's not a huge. You don't have to buy some really expensive thing. Just I think getting into the small, cheaper stuff helps you get an idea of what you're getting into with this. You can learn how difficult or easy it is to charge something off the sun that's actually usable. Water filtration. Mess around with some camping filters. That way, if you get into filtering well water, you're not completely ignorant to how it works. Again, you can start small. As far as the end goal, I'm not going to go too far into that because I think we all know what a homestead is.
Yeah.
You're raising plants and animals. You're producing, revenue. We've got a cat trying to be part of this. But yeah, the long-term goal is pretty obvious, I think. I mean, I could fine-tune that statement, but I won't because we're just starting out. And
Sorry.
Okay, that's it for me.
Long-term and short-term goals?
Yes.
So short-term for me, I should be, if everything goes accordingly, be graduating from college in 2 years. So one of my short-term goals is to graduate debt-free or semi-debt-free. Student loans are outrageous, and I go to a private school, so it's even more expensive, and nursing school on top of that. So I want to graduate with as little debt as I can. And after that, I hope to start my nursing job, working where I work now. And like I said, I want to build my own house. I'll probably have someone build it for me. I'm not that handy. I can't put together a house by myself, but my boyfriend, he knows a lot of things like electrical work and concrete and stuff like that. And Nate's pretty handy, and so is my dad. So we'll see how that goes. Another short-term goal I have is, like I mentioned previously, my diet. I'm 20. I'm a teenager. I like to go out with my friends. We like to go out to eat. We like to just go hang out and have fun, run around in the town. So when I do go out to eat, I want to eat something more organic, I say. So not get chicken tenders and french fries, which is my go-to. So maybe get like a steak and green beans or something. I want to switch over to more organic food, so do that, and then maybe stop going out as much and eating from home, which I eat at home a fair bit. I'll go to my dad's for dinner sometimes and go to my friends, but I think I've done a good job staying away from the restaurants.
Yeah, you've been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you suffer.
Yeah. Actually, the other day I went to B-Dubs and had a terrible experience. I ended up in the ER. I was thrown up real bad. I just had an exacerbation from GERD, so yeah, not fun. Long-term goals. Well, I want to keep my job as a nurse, but our cat just flew. One of my long-term goals, I want to have like a farm, maybe a couple pigs, some chickens, probably a cow, not anything too crazy. I want to have a cow to get milk from and eventually butcher and get my meat from and get my eggs from my chickens and meat from the hog. So I want to have not a giant, huge farm, just something small that'll support my family. I want to have my own garden, grow beans and corn and all kinds of vegetables, fruits in the summertime. I think that's it. Oh, another long-term goal is to live in as much less debt as possible. I know sometimes that's hard, life happens, and sometimes you have no other option, so I guess that just happens, but as less debt as I can would be preferable.
My short-term goals right now, I want to learn canning. I used to do this. I shouldn't say that. I used to watch my mom do it. I did not participate. I was pretty little. But I've been doing a lot of research on different types of food preservation, fermenting, and canning, and then preservation for eggs and different things like that. So, and
also you found that storing food items in glass jars
in the refrigerator,
like
they last, like peppers, they last way longer than keeping them in a plastic container. I don't know what the science is behind that, but it drastically longer.
Yeah.
We've had carrots in there for probably a month now.
Yep,
they're
fine.
I know it sounds gross, but they're fine.
Yeah.
There's just nothing wrong with them. It's just something about the glass preserves them.
Yeah. So that's one of my short-term goals. Another short-term goal is I have an herb garden, an indoor herb garden, and it's not very big. It's enough for us to eat on, and I use it to barter with. I've been giving herbs away and homemade soap away in trade for fresh farm eggs. But I want to grow that garden. I had to buy a new light recently because my old light just wasn't doing the trick. So I'm hoping that flourishes.
And that's another example of start with something, okay, that didn't work. Let me upgrade slightly and see if I can make this thing work, and then you learn as you go.
Yeah, yep. My long-term goal is to be debt-free and have a full homestead. It is in my mind to eventually quit my job. I don't know if I ever will. I may just work part-time, but I love the life insurance. I love the retirement. Like I said, we work for an amazing company.
It's a good company.
It is. But my end goal is to have a self-sustainable, self-sufficient homestead to be able to live off of and also make some income from.
Be independently dependent off of your land.
Yes, it's a good way to say it. So the last thing I want to talk about is one tip to get started homesteading from each of us.
Are you starting with me?
Sure.
One tip. Well, since it's about independence, and I'm kind of on the spot here, I didn't come up with something for this. Start where you can.
Yeah.
You don't even necessarily have to go out and buy something. You could just start, anything that makes you personally more independent. And I think that sounds like a vague answer, but it really is a mindset, I think. Start to think, how can I start doing things differently to just begin to be more independent?
Like fix the sink yourself.
Or start, looking at your finances as far as paying debt off. You don't have to go out and just start throwing money at bills right away or debt right away. Put it on paper.
Yeah.
Start a plan.
A good tip with that is the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover book. I think I paid $9 for the book.
Yeah.
It has completely transformed our finances.
A lot of good information.
Yeah,
in that
I
book.
highly recommend that book. Sorry.
No, that was pretty much it.
My tip would be to not overwhelm yourself. I know when we first started this whole thing.
Sorry.
There's our other cat. When we first started this whole thing, I was kind of overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, we live in a small house. How are we going to start a garden? How are we going to start eating this way? Like, how are we going to get the finances straight? Like, I don't know, my brain was just a little rattled. So don't let it overwhelm yourself. Like,
one step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time. Start by, like I said, maybe instead of eating out twice a week, limit yourself once a week and then slowly wean yourself down. With our garden, maybe just go buy a little house plant that's already potted and see if you can keep it alive for a month or so. And that's what I did. I bought a plant how many months ago?
Oh, maybe 6 months ago.
Maybe 6 months ago. I was just curious. Oh, I wonder if I can keep it alive, and it's still growing.
Yeah.
My cat just...
You actually had to just repot it because it outgrew its pot.
Yeah, I repotted it. My cat just broke a leaf off of it, so that's okay. I had another tip. Don't overwhelm yourself. Well, that's all I can think of right now.
My tip is something that I kind of already did for the most part, but wasn't fully committed to it, and that is cooking with raw ingredients. We buy food that doesn't have an ingredient list on it. So if you go buy potatoes, your ingredient is potatoes. We don't buy things with a million mile long ingredient list and you don't know what half of it is.
If you can't pronounce it, chances are you don't want to eat it.
Right.
I learned in my nutrition class this past semester that the longer the list, the more fake ingredients there are in it.
Yeah, that's true.
And just in general, the more ingredients are, the shorter the list, the better for you, the more natural, all that.
And one of the reasons that learning how to cook from scratch now, which I already knew, but you know, a lot of people don't. You know, you grow up on mac and cheese and hot dogs.
My favorite.
And we've had many of those times because we were dirt broke and that's what we could afford. But learning how to cook from scratch now will help us later when we are preserving our own foods, when we're growing our own foods. Because when you grow your own foods, there's no ingredient list, and you have to know how to prepare those foods.
True.
To keep them both nutritious and delicious.
Like you were saying, your mom would throw stuff together in a pot. If you have ingredients in your fridge that are going to go bad soon, just think, well, this might sound good together. Throw it in a pot and call it a day and see how it tastes. You never know.
We do lots of those skillet meals that just throw stuff in.
Be open-minded with some of the food stuff. Some people, you know, find it hard to try new foods, but keep an open mind and try them. Like, I'd never really had beef broth. It's just something I would drink, and my wife made me some. I like it.
I never had quinoa. I thought it looked disgusting. I thought it looked like fish eggs. I was dead set I was never going to eat it. And Mom made quinoa the other day, didn't tell me what it was, and I was like, oh, it looks like rice. And I ate it, and I was like, this is super good.
Yep.
Mom was like, oh, it's quinoa. And I was like, okay.
And quinoa is really good for you.
We should keep it around 30.
Okay. He says we should keep it at 30 minutes. I think we've talked too long. Well, with that being said, if you liked what we had to say, if you're interested in watching our journey, if you are on a similar journey,
If you have any questions.
Yeah. Or if you know any like-minded people, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share our video. We appreciate your time, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Bye.